Three Ninjas Kickback is a beat-em-up platform game for the SNES developed by Malibu Interactive and published by Sony ImageSoft. It was released in North America on the SNES in November 1994. Both the Sega Genesis and Sega CD versions were also released that same year. Today I'll be reviewing the SNES version. Maybe in the future I'll check out these other versions as well, but as for today, we're going to stick with the SNES. The game is based off of the movie of the same name released earlier that same year, which is a sequel to the 1992 film Three Ninjas. I do believe there's 4 movies in all, and this is the only one I'm aware of that actually has a video game. Like the movie, the game stars 3 brothers, trained by their grandpa Mori in the ways of the ninja. Ultimately, the game does a pretty good job at following the movie's plot, which if you haven't seen the movie, I actually suggest checking it out before you play the game. I'm serious here. It's not an amazing film, but both myself and my son did enjoy it for what it was. And plus, after watching the movie, to be honest, it actually made me enjoy the game a little bit more. Following their training, the boys' grandpa Mori tells them that he must return to his village in Japan to present a ceremonial dagger to the winner of a martial arts tournament. Legend is that this dagger makes up part of a necessary key to unlock a mystical cave of gold. Although Mori never fell for this legend, his rival of long ago did. With Mori soon to return, his rival plots to rid him of his dagger. The 3 ninjas ultimately must come to their grandpa's aid, all while avoiding the Grungers. The main Grunger is the nephew of Grandpa Mori's rival. He is contacted to get the dagger and bring it to him in Japan. It's sort of like Home Alone with ninjas. Your choices are Rocky, the strongest, Colt, the fastest, and Tum Tum, the smallest. Seriously, Tum Tum is my least favorite out of all of my plays on this, mainly due to his weapons size, which virtually have no reach, unlike Rocky, who uses a staff, and Colt, who uses a sword. Maybe it's an added challenge utilizing Tum Tum. However, to me, it's just a little too much for my liking. In addition to each character's main weapon, there are additional bombs which can be collected throughout and used as secondary weapons, but I never actually used them and they did seem pretty useless. With this being a side-scrolling platformer, there are some basic movements, crawling, running, jumping, jump kicking, as well as hanging from things and swinging from ropes. Swinging can be a pain though, FYI. When you do jump to a rope, a lot of times you're either going to grab the platform above by mistake, or you're going to miss the rope and fall into spikes or some other random obstacle. You do start to get the hang of it, but it is still something, at least for me, I did quite frequently. For each character, you do have a special attack by pressing the jump and the attack button at the same time. Like most games of this time and this style, you do lose health each time you use that special attack, so you just want to make sure to be cautious. Really, I don't think there's a need to use it very often, but it is nice to have, just, as an extra bonus. There are 5 levels. There's the woods, the cabin / cave, it's 1 level technically, the hospital, a Japanese garden, and a dojo. Each level with 2 to 4 sub-levels. Each of these levels follows the movie's plot, and between some of the levels you do get a picture and some dialogue, which does help to tell the story as you progress through the game. In addition to the main levels and then those sub-levels, at the end of each there is a bonus stage, which does allow you a chance to collect items to accumulate points, coins, even extra lives, so that's definitely a plus. A lot of the items that you do collect will gain you points, such as glass orbs and gemstones. There are food items which do replenish health, and then there's also different masks that you'll come across, such as a yellow one, a green one, and a blue one. So depending on the character that you're playing as, you may actually get an extra life, or instead you may get 5,000 points. So for example, if you're playing as Colt and you find a blue mask, you're going to get an extra life. But if you end up collecting a green mask or a yellow mask instead, you'll get 5,000 points. There are other items such as crystal balls. There's a red one which will actually destroy all the enemies on screen, as well as some objects revealing other items. And then also a yellow one, which this one will give you a strength boost for a limited time. The game features 3 difficulty levels: easy, medium, or hard. Interestingly, easy is the only difficulty level that opens up a passcode feature. So once you select it from the options and then you go in, it'll actually give you an option to put in the passcode, which utilizes pictures of the different characters instead of letters or words. Now, doing a quick Google search, I did find that there are a couple other passcodes that you can enter during play. So if you're playing on normal, that's what I play on. I'm not on the hardest difficulty or the easiest. I play on medium or normal. And what ends up happening is this code allows you to skip levels and zones. So you can skip either entire like level 1 to level 3 or level 1 to level 2, or you can just do level 1 to level 1 So if, for example, if you don't have time to sit down and play through the game, but you want to practice a couple levels, it's a really easy way to skip through, which is very nice and helpful. That same passcode though does actually allow you to go backwards to level 2. So if you are playing through it and you want to redo a level, you can just put in that passcode and you can go backwards and redo that level, or pick an earlier level that you want to play through. Maybe you missed something and you wanted to go back and check it out. Don't know why you would do that, but it's still a pretty cool feature. For me, this game has actually zero nostalgia, and as I don't believe I ever actually played this one as a kid, so I'm reviewing this as someone who just genuinely enjoys video games, retro video games at that. I grew up in the 90s, Super Nintendo. I remember getting my Super Nintendo. I remember following, being super excited about the games that were coming out for it. Playing this game in 2023, almost 30 years after its release, I thought it was going to be a pretty bad game. I thought it was going to be pretty horrid. However, I'm finding that it's quite enjoyable. I like the animation. I like the graphics. I like the gameplay. Is it one that I'll return to? Chances are that yeah. And although I was a little annoyed of it at first, some of the controls, at first were pretty obnoxious. The levels were annoying. And once I started to learn it though, ultimately I started to have fun playing it. Interestingly though, I think watching the movie actually made me enjoy it a little bit more. So if you haven't played Three Ninjas Kickback for the Super Nintendo and you enjoy older platforming games, I do encourage you give it a go. But also be sure to watch the movie. It really does help with the story, and I think it helps you get into it a little bit more so. If you enjoy, be sure to click that like button. If you're slightly amused, maybe subscribe for future reviews. If you've played the game being reviewed, let me know your thoughts. Did you like it? Did you hate it? I'd love to hear from you. With that said, if you've made it this far, thank you for joining me, and be sure to tune in next time.